Well, hi class, it's nice to see you again. My name is Nancy Trojanowski and I'm happy to be talking about our Unit 3 individual project in this class. So it's very similar to the Unit 2 individual project in terms of how you access it, all that good stuff. Plus, you're going to be sent another worksheet that has some extra guidance and some tips and tricks on it. So I want to go through all of that with you now. So follow along. First step, we're going to go to the assignment list. We're going to go down to Unit 3 individual project. So this is your virtual lab. Okay, so same thing as before. We have a great tutorial of the lab built right into the classroom, so you can access it there. And then there's the worksheet is right here, and you'll see it's linked with here. You can download that worksheet and type right in it, or you're going to be sent another one that has a little bit extra guidance. Again, those tips and tricks, and I show you how to do the calculations. Looks like this. So if you want to type just directly into this one that you are sent, that is perfectly fine to do so, and then you can upload it. So I'll go through this in a second. But let's talk about how to access the lab. Okay, so after you've got your worksheet downloaded from wherever and saved to your computer, you're going to go to the course resources section and click on learning materials. Now this one is going to be housed in the Unit 3 learning materials. So you can see there's the Muse. So we're going to click on the link over here, environmental science and soil. When you click there, you're going to see a couple different things. So we've got, and it's kind of flip-flopped if you notice. So the individual project 2, the lab's on the right side and the resources are on the opposite side. So it's kind of flipped for this one. So you're going to look at the testing soil resource there and the soil infiltration resources. Definitely preview those first. But here is the actual lab. So you're going to click on the lab. All right, and there's several different sites that you're going to go to, and you're going to test the soil at each site. So you're going to read through this, and then you're going to click on the site 1, then site 2, and then site 3, and you'll be taken to the different parts. I'm not going to go through all this because I don't want to give it away, but you're going to actually do it in each site, and you'll see it kind of grays out once you've done each site. So as you're doing this, and of course this is how you advance, okay, but as you do each site, you're going to record your information on the table. So if you look down at the first part here, okay, it says gather the following information from the field. That's when you're watching the virtual lab, okay, and you're going to be writing in your information. Now there's a little trick here. So you're going to be able to fill in this information in the first 3 parts of the table there. Okay, so you're going to fill that in, and you can see I put an example here because you're going to have to find the evaporation of water. All right, so let's look at this example. So we know that anything that's a total percent is 100%, right? 100 is the total, and percent means 100. Okay, so it's out of 100. So anything that adds up, it's got to add up to 100%. So if we look, and this is just an example, these aren't the real numbers you're going to see in your virtual lab. But let's say you go to site 1, you're looking at vegetation, and you can see in my example there, let's say shallow infiltration for vegetation there is 25%. Okay, so 25%. And then deep infiltration in my example here for vegetation is also 25%. And then the runoff is 10%. Okay, so we got that information from the lab, and this is just a hypothetical situation here, example, okay? So if we add that up, 25 plus 25 plus 10, there is 60, okay? So that's where I got that. So 60% of that water is accounted for. We want to know, where did the rest go? So how much of the water evaporated? Well, if 100% is the total, right? And we can account for 60%. We know where 60% was. 100 minus 60 is 40. Okay, so the amount of water that actually evaporated, oops, if I can type, is 40%. Okay, so that's how you're going to do that. So this evaporation of water column here, you're not going to be able to get that information from viewing the actual lab. You're going to have to do that calculation by yourself, but you just follow that same formula, okay, and you should be able to come up with those numbers. So that's the first part there. So you can look at the hints there and that example again. Then for section 2 in the chart, you have to do another calculation here. Okay, so for section 2 in the chart, we have a given, and then we're going to have something from the lab, and we have to do a little conversion. Okay, so in all of this, this is the given. Okay, 1 inch of rainfall deposits essentially 144 cubic inches, which is 0.623 gallons of water. Okay, that's a given, it's a set standard, so that's what we are using. Okay, so you can see in the formula that's already given for us. Okay, now we're going to multiply that by the square feet of surface area. Okay, and then we're going to take whatever percent we are using from the lab. But you can see there's a little asterisk there. Okay, remember that percent is a percentage, but we need it in a decimal form, right? We need it in a number decimal form like this is. So we have to convert the percent to decimal form first before we can multiply it. Okay, so 40% is actually 0.40. Okay, remember when you have a percent sign, you just move over to 2 decimal spaces there, since it's a 0, 0. Okay, so that's the deal there. So we always have to convert. If you just multiply 40 in there, 40 is a lot different than 0.4 when you're multiplying. Okay, so a couple hints here that I have. So again, we know that this is a given. That's always going to be in the formula. It's right there. Okay, and then we know that all of the research sites are 100 square feet. Okay, so all of them are going to be 100 square feet. So we know the surface area is going to be 100. So this part's given for us. We don't have to do anything. So all we really need to worry about is that percentage from the lab demo. So we're going to have the percentage from the lab demo, but we need to convert that into a decimal. All right, we need an actual number, not a percentage. So again, you just move the decimal point over 2 spaces, and that'll give you your conversion there, okay, correctly. So you can see I have that example there. So if it was 40%, you move the decimal place over 2 spaces, and it's 0.4. Okay, and then you just have to multiply that. So for all of these, when you are doing, doing these, every single one, these are going to be given. The 0.623 times 100, that's going to be given. So the only thing you're changing is what you're multiplying from the lab demo. All right, and remember, before you multiply it, you don't just multiply that percentage number. So 60%, 60% here. If we're putting in 60%, it would be 0.60 is 60%. All right, that's what 60% is. If we have 85%, okay, 85% multiplied out would be what? So we move the decimal point over 2 spaces, so it would be 0.85 would be what we multiply out. Okay, so you've got to get the conversion in there before you multiply everything together so it becomes accurate. Delete that before I forget. There we go. Okay, then if you scroll down a little bit, and that should help you be able to answer those questions to get that extra information. And then if you look down here, just some extra guidance and some sentence starters for you to answer these questions. Okay, so they're very specific. You can see there's some sentence starters built right in there. You can literally complete the sentences to get those in there for all of these. All right, so sometimes people forget to include parts of the data, right, and talk about that. So be sure you're doing that. So follow all of these sentence starters, and that should be helpful for you. I didn't put these in blue since these are extra, extra sentence starters. You can just use that exact sentence. So hopefully that is helpful. But if you have any questions or have issues accessing the lab, please let us know. We are here to help. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.